up at 6 a.m. for a podcast today. I have such a long day, and I was like, if I don't get a podcast done early in the morning, we're not going to have another podcast today. And I don't want to risk what happened yesterday because we've been having torrential rains. And yesterday, it was so bad, it tripped up the electrics. And I had no power for like 6 hours. And I wanted to do a podcast later in the day after the last one that didn't get done. So I was like, nope, I'm going to drag myself out of bed at 6 a.m. and get this podcast done. By the way, since it is 6 a.m., the roosters are going insane. So please let me know if you can actually hear any roosters in the background, because then I will know whether or not the noise blocker in the background is actually working. So just confirm, please, that we cannot hear any roosters. I'm actually moving apartment, so the new place where I'm moving, hopefully, let's see. Yeah, hopefully in about a week's time, there are no roosters there. Now I know why this place was so cheap. Oh, you can't hear the roosters? Good. Because if I turn the noise blocker off, oh my God, folks. They are really going at it and yelling at each other. Okay. Let's get into the royal news because there's quite a lot of news. And some surprises. Meghan got on a plane and came straight home. Harry did an impromptu surprise visit to Ukraine. So let's get into all of that. So yeah, today's probably going to be quite a long podcast. Grab your coffee, water, tea. All right, let's get to it. Yeah, let's start with Harry in Ukraine. Got some video footage. Y'all, the British tabloid, y'all. I actually saw the tweet come up because I followed Chris Ship. Shocked he was. Shocked they all are. After their idiotic coverage of Harry and Meghan's incredible, successful, amazing Australia trip. And then here Harry pops up in Ukraine. So it was a 2-day visit, and he also gave a keynote speech. It's actually the third time he's been there in 12 or 13 months. And the second time in the last, 8 months? So I think it was last September, correct me if I'm wrong. He made like a semi-surprise visit. Spending a week in the UK. Also, it's interesting to note that the Queen had a memorial service and Harry was distinctly not invited. He did send flowers, but he was not invited. Anyway, he traveled to Kiev via an overnight train from Poland, like he did last September. And in his speech, he urged the world not to lose sight of Ukraine for an international security conference. Obviously, a lot of attention on the Middle East at the moment. And he wanted to remind people back home and around the world that Ukraine is up against and to support people and partners doing extraordinary work every hour of the day in incredibly tough conditions. And he urged people not to become numb to this or any other conflict, adding, "This is a war about values, not just territory." Obviously, he was wearing his Invictus jacket. And he'll probably have events of Ukrainian veterans as well. I think I haven't watched all the clips from this trip yet. I'm going to play just two that I caught on Twitter. But I think what is so remarkable about these trips is how the Ukrainians treat him. He needed a whole gifting suite. He went back with so many mementos, food, flags, gifts for Meghan and the children. But also the substance of his trips. Obviously, the incredible work they're doing through Invictus, not just for athletes and their families, but also, last time he spoke about the children, and who would get wounded through war, and the help that they would need. And actually, let me just bite my words. Let me bite my words. The reason Chris Ship was able to report on it was because he was actually invited to cover Harry's trip exclusively. That's interesting. Okay, let me eat crow. Let me eat some crow. Chris, next Wednesday I will stop reporting on Harry and Meghan. Ship was actually invited. Harry apparently thought he was good enough to cover this. Yeah, he did a whole piece actually. Well, okay, I didn't quite catch that. So when I saw it on Chris's feed, I didn't realize he was actually there covering. And he also covered Harry's keynote speech at the security conference. Interesting. I mean, to be fair, more recently, I haven't seen Chris Ship being a nuisance. Harry also echoed the words of Diana, her words from 1997 in Angola, where he says, she said, "I'm not a political figure." He says, "I'm not here as a politician. I'm here as a soldier who understands service, as a humanitarian who has seen the human cost of conflict, and as a friend of Ukraine who believes the world must not grow used to this war or numb to its consequences." He also had direct messages for Trump and Putin. He told the Russian leader, President Putin, "No nation benefits from this continued loss of life we are witnessing. There is still a moment now to stop this war, to prevent further suffering for Ukrainians and Russians alike, and to choose a different course." And Harry did not mention Donald Trump by name, but had a message for the American leadership. Harry said the USA has a singular role in this conflict because when Ukraine agreed to give up its nuclear weapons, America had pledged to protect Ukraine's borders and its sovereignty. He told the Trump administration, "This is a moment for American leadership, a moment for America to show that it can honor its international treaty obligations, not out of charity, but out of its enduring role in global security and strategic stability." able to hear me now? For some reason, my laptop just went black. What happened there? Oh my gosh, that's literally never happened before. So sorry about that. No, it's not YouTube that crashed. It's my laptop. That's literally never happened before. Gosh, how annoying. Anyway, I was saying that's a very brave thing for Harry to say. Although I have no faith in the current Orange Monsters administration that they will probably hear those words, but history will hear those words. Interesting. Chris Ship was there, and he definitely would have been invited, isn't it? It's not like Chris Ship would have just been dilly dallying around Ukraine. I'm also wondering, those are very, even for Harry, those are very strong words. I'm wondering if there's someone in that House of Parliament, in the UK House of Parliament, who sees Harry as a soft diplomatic asset and asked him to say something. I don't know. Even Bojo the clown was begging Harry to come back. So, and those are very bold words even for Harry. Let me have a look here. Oh, Elaine Parker, a member for 46 months. I hope you are doing well, Elaine Parker, and thank you also for the super sticker. Wait, you can see well enough to join in? Oh, thank you so much, Elaine Parker. Have you been having issues with your eyesight as well? I do remember that you were unwell, but I can't remember exactly what it was that you said. Well, I am so glad you are doing better. Thank you for hopping in and joining us. Maggie, the other brothers will be stripping his titles again. Listen, I've been saying it. Strip the titles. Harry's still here in Ukraine, is he not? Titles, no titles. Given the attention to this issue that it needs, right? Exactly, Duchess. Okay, let's have a look at some videos. Gosh, I've got so much to cover, and we're only 15 minutes in, folks. Here's Harry. I think this is the initial applause when he walked. Oh no, let's have a look at the train video when he walks out the train.
Номер 24.
It's an honour and a privilege to return to Kiev, my third visit, and to your beautiful country. And since the full-scale invasion, the Ukrainian people have done something extraordinary. You have adapted, you have endured, and you have held the line.
All right, I hope you were able to see all of those clips because it plays on a bit of a delay for me. So Sometimes I don't know exactly when the clip started and stopped, but Harry's looking good, sounding confident, and a great surprise add-on to what was an amazing trip in Australia. Who dropped the super sticker? Thank you so much to PPVB60X. Thank you for the super sticker. PP, I feel like I have not seen your name ever. Are you a silent listener? Did you used to have another username? I've noticed a few people change their username, but you still have the same avatar. So I'm like, I recognize you from that. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you for the super sticker. Much appreciated, folks. Every time Harry and Meghan go out, William was ready to strip the title. Indeed. All right, let's move on to the next thing. Brilliant stuff from Harry. Second clip kind of froze. Okay, do you want me to play it again? I mean, it was only 15 seconds long anyway, but I'll play it again.
And since the full-scale invasion, the Ukrainian people have done something extraordinary. You have adapted, you have endured, and you have held the line.
Thank you. Appreciate you, PP. Oh. All right. Next thing is... if my slide wants to load, that would be great. Ah, yes. This. Let's talk about this. I feel like I've been so focused on Harry and Meghan, thank goodness. Haven't really given much thought to the other royals. Other than the background noise that they be causing. So they were at this reception. And there's this picture that's been going around of them at this reception. And at this reception for the Queen's 100th, what would have been her 100th birthday, Kate, William, Edward, and Sophie were branded the Fab Four. Although the new Fab Four. Now remember, Harry and Meghan and Kate and William were meant to be the Fab Four. And it basically would have been, do you remember in uni or college when you had a group assignment and you had two people doing all the work and then the other two just dragging along? That's what it would have been. But now they can actually prove their credentials if they have any. Haven't been doing a great job so far. I've been the Fab Four, just William, Kate, and the Edinburghs. I actually believe that GB News and sites like GB News are trolling them when they post things like this. Because you can't be serious. Now, somebody did a Photoshop version of the group family photo where it was just William and Kate. And truth is, in 2 decades, it will only be, maybe less than that, it will only be William and Kate in this photo. Now, perhaps with the kids, but I don't think that these up-and-coming royal children will have the same cycle of public events, the same kind of so-called working royal life that their parents, grandparents, great-grandparents did. I just don't believe that the interest will be on the royal children like that. And that's still not going to be for a while. They're still kids. So between that time, Kate and William are pretty much on their own. They're on their own. I saw a video of Sophie in her grand motorcade. I still don't know why Sophie has a motorcade, because for real, she could get an Uber under an alias and nobody would know who she is. She just looks like any other woman walking down the streets of England on any other day. Edward looks like any other guy walking down the streets of England on any other day. In fact, the only person that really had a distinct look in the royal family was the Queen, the late Queen. I have absolutely no idea who the lady in the blue is, sitting in the front. The two to the right of Kate, I've got no idea who that is. The gentleman sitting down in the front, I know who he is by face. I don't know his name. If you gave this photo to Gen Zers, at best they would know who William and Kate are, perhaps. Perhaps. Maybe they would know who Charles and Camilla are. I mean, Gen Z have probably watched The Crown, so. But this is the issue that they have. An issue of relevancy, an issue of coolness. Now, I know that this event was for the Queen's birthday, but it seems Kate literally went through the Queen's lookbooks also. And we've reverted back to the coat dress look. Somebody actually said to me that the coat dress look was from the Queen. And I never actually thought about that. So even Kate's so-called signature style that she had all these years was taken from the Queen anyway. That's actually quite remarkable. She's never had her own sense of style herself. Anyway, the palace had a reception for the Queen. This is only the second time, by the way, that Kate has been seen this month. She was tasked with small talking a bunch of seniors, which is actually one of her strengths. That's actually one of the things that she does very well. She can make that posh small talk with the seniors. So they also pose for photos. This is the work, by the way. Small talking with seniors, posing for photos. And I actually want to know, because they're very deliberate when they do things like this. I want to know what they felt this portrait would convey. I really want to know. Was it Charles or one of the courtiers, the bees, the wasps, the ants, the scorpions, the men in grey suits, who probably sat down and thought, oh, I know what will stick it to Harry and Meghan? A show of joint unity. Let's have a portrait. That's what somebody in the palace said. That's what one of them courtiers said. I really do hope they listen to this podcast. I'm sure they have periodically. But they need to do an actual better job of taking our advice. Get Kate a Hollywood stylist and stop this foolishness. So the Telegraph tried to put it in a dutifully monarchist spin. Barely managed it. They said, from the 43-year-old Prince William to the 90-year-old Duke of Kent, they gathered for a photograph to mark the occasion, a snapshot of a slimmed-down monarchy in this new era, with an average age of 69. Each generation worked to its strength. Oh, I need to bring back those videos I used to have, of the people laughing. From the 43-year-old Prince William to the 90-year-old Duke of Kent, they gathered for a photograph to mark the occasion. A snapshot of the slimmed-down monarchy in its new era, with an average age of 69. Each generation worked to its strengths. Oh my goodness. It's even worse because, as many are pointing out, the septuagenarians and the octogenarians are regularly outworking the lazy 240-somethings, while GB News spin was actually William, Kate, and Sophie and Edward are the new Fab Four. Oh my goodness. I should not be laughing this early in the morning. Because what do you mean they gathered for a snapshot of the slim down monarchy? I mean, is this the slim down monarchy that Charles wanted all this time? Every single one of these people should be at home in their slippers. Not costing the taxpayer money. Out here to pose for cameras. And the thing is they pretty much almost all look to be the same age. That's a crazy thing. Oh my goodness. I should not be laughing this early in the morning. I mean, wait, there's something else that I want to read as well. So even the emotional support pollsters didn't bother to include Sophie in their recent polling. Of course not. All of her international tours get zero attention. People never know what Edward and Sophie are up to at any given moment because you can't even pay royal reporters to cover them. But sure, call them the new Fab Four. Indulge in fantasy if you want. This is where we are now, folks. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so here are the emotional support pollsters with their weak ass attempt to drive public opinion. They never do. They can see Queenie's memory still more powerful than any of the others. And the Queen really did have a distinct look from her youth all the way up until her death. Princess Diana, long gone. Still second most popular. William, next. Kate, next. I don't believe that Anne, in terms of popularity, is above Charles. Then Prince Philip. I don't believe that. Prince Philip is long gone. I'm sorry, but I 100% believe that these polls are fake. Because I think a more accurate polling would show Charles is third, and then after Charles, Harry and Meghan. Now, I know these are from the UK, but still, you're not going to convince me that even with all the hate train that's levied against Meghan, that Edward and Prince Philip are above, in these so-called polls, above Meghan and Harry. That's a god-on lie. Camilla looked at more favourable than Harry? Well, YouGov does tend to sway a little bit more to one way anyway. And that is pro-monarchist. So, Camilla's son actually... no, not her son. Nephew works for YouGov, so... That'll tell you something. I mean, it's really gonna be interesting to see what they do. And they're trying all sorts of tricks. You had here Kate even giving a senior citizen a hug. I thought we don't hug. I thought hugging was not something that we do. Mind you, actually, hugging was something that they do, but they just weaponized it and came up with a lie and said that they don't. Now, in this, still you can see here, Kate is actually hugging one of the senior citizens. And remember that they used the whole hugging thing to beat Meghan with a stick. Oh, royals don't hug. She hugs too much. Americans are too huggy. What's interesting about this clip is that the older man actually looks very surprised. And you know he's very likely an old school royalist. So he's heard the protocol. You don't hug, you don't touch. And then here, Kate is. She gave him a full on hug, by the way. Oh, well, whatever we got to do to stay relevant. Because these people continue to act as if Harry and Meghan need them. Harry and Meghan need the shine of the monarchy. They don't. It's a monarchy that needs Harry and Meghan's shine. And now we have a slimmed down Ozempic monarchy. A whole slimmed down Ozempic monarchy. Begging for relevancy. Tut, tut, tut. And I do think that some commentators are actually adding to the delusion of where we are in terms of royal relevancy. I'm going to play this clip and then we're going to discuss. This was, I think it was from a BBC news segment. And remember, you haven't got a single millennial or Gen Z in this clip. This is who is talking, by the way.
The history of the British monarchy is that it's been at its least controversial and most successful in a democratic age rather than in an aristocratic age. It's actually become stronger. And I think they understand that, and I think it's therefore likely to persist.
Okay, I'd like to get a final thought from all of you. Will Lloyd, what do you think on that?
I think that the future of this country will be so different to how it's been in previous decades. I mean, to ask me what 2040 or 2050 would look like, I don't know. But I would say this. The difference with the current crisis is that it is now not in the hands of His Majesty or the courtiers or the press. It's in the hands of Thames Valley Police.
Charlie Faulkner.
I hope it persists. It does so much good for the country. I do not think you should underestimate the extent to which popular opinion can move very, very fast. And if the monarchy is not incredibly conscious of the need all the time to retain public support, then it will become in danger.
And Patience Wheatcroft.
30 years from now, I think that the monarchy will still be our monarchy. It will be much smaller. It will be transformed, I think, actually, by William and Catherine. I think they really do mean to create something different. And I think this country will be inclined still to hang on tight to nurse for fear of anything worse.
The history of the British monarchy is that it's been at its least controversial and most successful in a democratic age rather than in an aristocratic age. It's actually become stronger. And I think they understand that, and I think it's therefore likely to persist.
Okay, I'd like to get a final thought from all of you. Will Lloyd, what?
You know, the lady who said that the monarchy will still be here in 30 years and that Kate and William will transform it. How much more transformation do you need? Because Charles was meant to transform it into an Ozempic monarchy, and you have the pictures that I just showed you. And she's saying 30 years. Well, if we're assuming that Charles will be healthy and with us for another 10 to 20, shouldn't he be looking to transform the monarchy now? Heck, shouldn't he have been looking to do transformative things while he was then prince? These people are living in La La Land.
Lloyd, what do you think on that?
I think that the future of this country will be so different to how it's been in previous decades. I mean, to ask me what 2040 or 2050 would look like, I don't know. But I would say this. The difference with the current crisis is that it is now not in the hands of His Majesty or the courtiers or the press. It's in the hands of Thames Valley Police.
Charlie Faulkner.
I hope it persists. It does so much good for the country. I do not think you should underestimate the extent to which popular opinion can move very, very fast. And if the monarchy is not incredibly conscious of the need all the time to retain public support, then it will become in danger.
And Patience Wheatcroft.
30 years from now, I think that the monarchy...
So he talks about the monarchy retaining support, but there's absolutely no mention of how the dirty deeds of the royals is actually what's contributing to the support dwindling. That's what's contributing to the support dwindling, by the way. You all out here acting as if we didn't see Andrew walking around with Jeffrey Epstein. You all out here acting as if we're not all still curious as to how Fergie is funding her lifestyle. Now, we all know how she was funding it before she went into hiding and before Jeffrey Epstein was arrested and passed away. We've got the emails now. I don't know what level of delusion this is, but it's a very high one. And I have to ask, what are we supporting at this point? Right now, we shouldn't be supporting these people. We should be asking them some very serious questions. What world did these people right here live in? Because it can't be the same one that I live in. I mean, you got Meghan literally not moving the needle. She moving the tectonic plates just from what she wears. Just from what she wears, let alone any other impact Harry and Meghan have with, charity or anything else like that. Yeah, a slimmed down monarchy apparently means more money in our pockets, but not necessarily more work. Yeah, this is Cal Miller's poll. I honestly think that they just bring out these polls. And the thing is I don't even think these silly polls and the message is even reaching who it's meant to reach at this point. Lottie, he said, oh gosh. Okay, let me not have that comment up on the screen. You don't believe Gwendolyn, you don't believe that Kate has any friends. It doesn't seem like she does, to be honest. Which is very sad. I think that her friendship with Rose was probably the last type of friendship with a woman that she had. And I think the rumours would have affected her, especially if the rumours were true. Okay, let's move on to the next thing. The next thing is... Alright, I'm just gonna circle back to... Give me a sec, folks. I think I wanted to talk about... just circle back to Australia. We've actually got some on the ground testimonies from somebody who was at the retreat. But I just wanted to touch on this. Meghan did say in a sit down that she had been the most trolled person and bullied almost every single day for 10 years. And it's true. But she's still here. And she gave the young people that she was talking to a very uplifting message. And I think it's sad that so many people have made so much money from the bullying of this woman. And it is such a contrast between what the British tabloids and the trolls want to say about her compared to consistently how Meghan shows up and how she's always showed up. Nobody said a bad word about this woman before she married into that ridiculous family. But like Meghan said, she is still here, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. She's still here and making a phenomenal impact. Let's talk about this. Meghan's impact with her fashion alone. Now, she really brought out the fashion looks for the Australia tour, and she supported Australian designers. I think the fact that she wore mostly Australian designers was so clever because it made measuring the impact even easier, and it made the impact even more visible. So let me play this clip from these two ladies, and then we're going to discuss.
Talk about the actual positive impact that Meghan Markle has had on these brands, though, because it's really important that we do. This is having financial impact on our economy and also helping these brands build their profile internationally. Apparently, Google searches for Meghan Markle Australian fashion in Australia are up 2,800%.
Wow. And I think we just need to contextualize in this sea of what is often, to your point, Ree, hate and ridicule, is someone who converts commercially very, very well. And we had another quote from Julia from Friends with Frank, you know, on what is often dubbed the Meghan effect. We sold out of both styles that Meghan wore within 48 hours of her wearing them and have now put them on pre-order due to demand. We've also seen a clear uptick in website traffic with significantly higher international interest than usual, alongside strong engagement and buzz on social media. The Instagram post featuring Meghan in our pieces quickly became our highest performing social post to date.
Meghan also wore St. Agni, P. Johnson, Camilla and Mark, Karen G. An interesting tidbit from that is that a lot of the brands that she wore have now updated their SEO product descriptions to say that that piece was worn by Meghan Markle. So when you're searching for it, it comes up in the short product overview that you see before you
I love that.
click into the item.
Go team, go. Talk about the actual positive impact that Meghan Markle has had on these brands, though, because it's really important that we do.
There you go. Literally saving the economy. So according to launch metrics data supplied by WWD, the tour generated a total of 51.6 million in media impact value between the dates of April 14th and April 17th, with Australian fashion and jewellery brands major beneficiaries of the attention. Meghan's tour wardrobe showcased at least 16 local brands, including Karen G, Scallon Theodore, St. Angie, Camilla and Mark, Matthew P. Johnson, Bayra Park, Papsley, Friends with Frank, and Roller Jeans. One key development since 2018, beyond the plethora of Meghan style blogs and media outlets that monetize her appearances through Shop Her Look affiliate links, this time the Duchess made her tour look shoppable through an AI-powered, creator-led fashion discovery platform, One Off. According to One Off, they passed 1 million views of outfits on the site in the first 3 days since Meghan launched her page on the platform, y'all. The Sussex effect still translates into real brand performance. Do you know how much of a win it is for any website even to get 10,000 views a month, let alone 1 million in a few days. For context, the Daily Fail, for example, gets over 100 million views a month. And Meghan got 1 million views on her outfit alone in a couple of days. This is why they will never stop writing about her. Because if Meghan's clothes get this much attention, how much do you think Meghan gets? Incredible. And it has a breakdown on, you know, the actual impact of the clothes, individual clothes. So for example, for one brand, one of the brand's outfits that she wore generated over 250,000 in sales. And Scanlan Theodore reported the combined sales of 3 of its product featured on the tour were up 250% week on week. Wow. And all the looks were super strong as well. From casual to the more sleek dresses. Impact cannot be denied. Also, just to clear up the absolute rubbish and nonsense from Kate Manzi. Kate Manzi, it's like, is she just begging for Harry to sue her again? Now, Harry lost one case. There was a article that Kate Manzi wrote regarding Harry's security. But here she is again. Now, she claimed in a article for the Times, one woman who bought a ticket for the girls' weekend told the Times that there were several memorable moments. I don't believe that anybody would have talked to the Times from this event, including a rapid disappearance from the room by Harry at the end. She said it was the most unusual thing. People were taking pictures of Meghan on the stage, and Harry sort of rushed out. Really quickly, he didn't wait for her to come off the stage. Didn't collect her from the stage. It was really odd. I sat there and everyone kept going on about how handsome he was and how wonderful he was, but he almost ran out. It was bizarre. That is nonsense. Harry helped Meghan up and he helped Meghan leave hand in hand when they walked out. There was literally video to debunk what Kate Manzi said, but she still decided to write a stupid lie. Because she knows stupid lies like this, they won't go after her. I don't even believe that this was a quote from a person. But they know that they will not get sued. And that's the annoying part. Anyway, I want to read this testimony from somebody that was actually there. It's several tweets. It's a bit long, but I really wanted to read it out because we need to hear from people who are actually there, not these lying fools. So, this is from someone called Kerry LY4 on Twitter. She said, I'm going to delete my previous post about the retreat and Meghan's conversation with Gemma before opening my account. I will share some facts here that I have already covered, but I am happy to be public. Number 1, the retreat was amazing. Being surrounded by women of all shapes, ages and colours who had the ethos of lifting others up rather than tearing them down was so refreshing and good for the soul. You know, I played an audio clip from the woman who was a DJ. But if you actually watched that clip, like the visual, she had the most positive, uplifting, cute energy about her. And generally speaking, you find that women in these circles tend to have that spirit. Like, they're very cutesy, they're very whimsy, you know, very intellectual. strong women, of course, but they also have this gorgeous whimsy about them. The type of whimsy that will have trolls in the Daily Mail comment section saying that they had the happiness of a fake Hallmark card. But this is just normal, happy, whimsy life for these people, because they are not miserable. Joan Garcia, thank you so much for being a member for 24 months. You said, until UK people stop buying rags, Harry and Meghan hate is going to go on. Indeed. It's not just the UK rags, though. It's also the online rags from different countries. A mess. $1 billion industry that's a mess. Anyway, number 2. The Rangers claim only 40 showed up to see Meghan. Not true. The room was packed. The photo they're circulating was taken of a couple of groups of VIP guests who were let in prior to the gala commencing. Groups were taken in a few at a time to meet Meghan and have pictures taken, while others waited in the area out front drinking Moët and eating canapes. We drank a lot of Moët over the weekend. I'm so glad that they were able to facilitate in a smart and safe way for these people to meet Meghan and talk to her and get their pictures that they paid for without any trolls showing up. Now, I know at least 3 or 4 women in that room were squaddies. I wonder, now, which one of you fabulous ladies was a squaddie? So there was no heckling, booing or disruption during Meghan's conversation or at any other time in the night. Everyone was happy, excited and friendly. Number 4, Meghan received a very loud standing ovation when she entered the stage and another when she exited. When we noticed Harry was in the room, he too received cheers and a very warm welcome. Point number 5, Harry helped Meghan to the stage. After the whole conversation with Gemma finished, he went to the stage and helped her off, much to the crowd's delight. He's such a gentleman and clearly adores his wife. Number 6, Meghan answered every question she was asked. We were able to write down questions we would like to be asked. Gemma read them out. Meghan spoke with openness, warmth and grace. There were many topics: kids, marriage, business, bullying, women's health, date nights, their everyday life. I covered some of what was said in previous posts. I will delete. The Derangers will twist everything, so I'm not going to give them anything. I believe this person had their account privated before they wrote this publicly. But I wasn't following them, so I don't know what she said. And in any case, I wouldn't say it here, even if I saw it. Number 7, Meghan was not late. There were around 80 VIPs. Meghan had told Gemma's team that her one insistence was to meet everyone by name and have an opportunity to chat and connect with each one before photos were taken. I shared with you all the discussion I had with Meghan. I won't ever forget her words or her huge hug. She's one very special person, just incredible. No wonder they try so hard to destroy her, indeed. And everybody that meets her says the exact same thing. Number 8, all of us in attendance knew Meghan was a guest speaker. No one expected she was going to stay all weekend and do our makeup or braid our hair. Oh my God. She was one of a handful of guest speakers, so when the media reports that she ran out on us or left early or dashed off, that is the lies they tell. It's not indicative of the thoughts of those present. Wow. They really got what they paid for. Quite frankly, I think they got it on discount. They got a personal experience with Meghan on discount. Because Lord knows if I had the money, I would have paid 10 G's for that. And thank you to all of those people who did go, who respected the privacy of the event. And the privacy, not just of Meghan, but everybody else in attendance. Not a single leak. That's how you know no trolls got in. Thank you to everyone who went. Number 9, I have always admired Meghan and Harry, but hearing her speaking to her personally, just reaffirmed that my instincts were spot on. She has a very decent, very kind, and she is a very intelligent human being. She radiates warmth. Harry adores her and she him. She is so extremely funny. She laughed and joked and bounced off Gemma and the audience a lot. It was fantastic to hear her laugh and see her relax. Point number 10. The way the media and the haters who believe them have done everything in their power to defame and destroy everything and everyone involved with the retreat is disgraceful. Exactly, because you know what? And I didn't even touch upon this when the retreat was first announced. When they go after Meghan, they also hurt other people around her. These people just want to show up to their retreat, have a good time. Gemma just wants to do her cute little podcast. And the absolute fire and brimstone that comes out of the gates of hell, bubbling from the 7th layer, where these people reside with the guy with the mustache, every single time Meghan and Harry do something good. All 7 gates of hell open. And for what? It is truly disgraceful. Anyway, she goes on to say the hotel was amazing, 5-star amazing. The pool was not only finished, but gorgeous. What, so did they try to claim that the pool wasn't finished? Our rooms were absolutely beautiful. Gemma and her team are just incredible humans who went out of their way to make us feel like queens. The hotel staff was so professional and helpful. Nothing was ever too much to ask. It was an outstanding location, the perfect place to host a retreat. If you ever get the chance to stay there, do. I could have spent days being pampered in the spa alone. The $3,000 AUD I spent was well worth it. I met Meghan. I stayed in a gorgeous hotel, was treated like a queen. I met women from all over Australia. We laughed together, we danced together, we cried together. I feel so blessed to have experienced such a beautiful weekend. I also got a first-hand account of just how much the media, the derangers, twist narratives, outright lie, and will go to any length to try to paint anything Harry or Meghan do in a negative way. I know the truth about this retreat. I lived it, yet the outright lie about it for clicks and to spin the hate cycle. They lie about this, a women's wellness retreat. They will lie about anything and everything. Nothing but facts were spoken right there. They will lie about anything and everything. Thank you so much to that squaddy who wrote all of that. Very much appreciated. Yeah, women supporting women. He said, our prince is so proud to be married to the most beautiful ethereal beauty. Thank you everyone who's entering the chat. Almost 500 of you in the chat. Please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe button if you haven't. Lottie, you said, I often wonder if Harry and Meghan can't do these MFers. It's been 10 years. It is very difficult. This is another thing that we're learning. It is just so difficult. I think what Harry and Meghan's team could possibly be doing is building a much bigger long-term case. Because to take all of these people to court to prove it's just the way the law is, especially the law in the UK. Maybe in the US, but the US press still have not been as bad as the UK. But to be able to just bully someone, emotionally break someone down. I mean, I believe that there is grounds, I think, in the law for things like causing emotional distress. But they would have to absolutely just make sure the case is so strong, they're going in as winners. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how that case would be made. But I'm sure if there is room for it, their team one day will make that decision. But even taking it to court, you got to remember that alone will be a story for the tabloids, and that alone will unleash all types of tantrums and hate towards Harry and Meghan. So it's not just, are they going to have a strong enough case to take to court? But also, are Harry and Meghan emotionally ready to take that type of action if they were going to take it? That's the other thing. You got to remember, these cases bring a huge emotional load. But I agree with what you're saying. I'm just aware of the complexities. All right, let's move on to the next thing. There's still quite a bit I've got to cover, folks. Because I wasn't around for a few days. There's still a few things I need to cover. Let's have a look at let me just open up my notes. What else did I need to cover? Yes, okay, I think I've covered kind of the last bits that I needed to cover about the Australia tour, Meghan's impact, Harry in Ukraine, the Royals' relevancy problem. Now let's move on to an update about Sentebale. So the Lesotho leaders on the ground have now come out to criticize Sophie Chan douchebag. So 2 Fridays ago, and just a few days before Harry and Meghan arrived in Australia, the media learned that Sentebale is suing Prince Harry and Mark Dyer for defamation. Harry co-founded Sentebale and stepped down as Sentebale's patron last year due to the charity's chief executive Sophie Chanduka and her mismanagement. Dyer was the founding trustee of Sentebale, and he's also a father figure to Harry. And he cut ties with Sentebale along with almost all of the original board of trustees. Chanduka's behaviour has been asinine and childish throughout, but she's been enabled every step of the way by a rabid, anti-Sussex British media and the short-sighted, compromised Charity Commission. Give me 1 sec, folks. Just need to mute for a sec. Okay. Soon after the lawsuit became public, we learned that Chanduka is using external funds, and it was not clear where those external funds are coming from, to sue Harry and Dyer, which is just bizarre. It's telling that none of the British outlets will investigate that as well. Exactly. They're always nosing around for every little thing that Harry and Meghan are doing. They want to know when Harry and Meghan fart, but when it's something like this, they don't want to investigate that. You know why they don't want to investigate? Because they've been told not to investigate. You know why they've been told not to investigate? Because we know exactly who that external funding is coming from. Last week we learned 2 more things about Chanduka. The lawsuit and where things fell apart. As it turns out, when Sentebale's board of trustees resigned, they sent a scathing letter to Chanduka, calling out her financial dealings and her bizarre behaviour. Last week, the UK Charity Commission also piped up, questioning the wisdom of Chanduka's lawsuit. Well, they should have done a lot more with their so-called report that they did. They should have been looking into how she was spending money. That should have been the first red flag for them. I wouldn't be surprised if the Charity Commission ended up getting sued after all of this as well, for misconduct, because they have shown that they cannot be trusted. So now the Times of London has a lengthy story about the feeling in Lesotho regarding the defamation suit, and more information about how Sentebale is struggling under Chanduka's mismanagement. The decision by Sentebale to sue its co-founder has been described as self-indulgent and a poor use of resources by a community leader in Lesotho. The principal chief warned the High Court action would jeopardize the charity's work at a time when programs had already stalled. Taking legal action does not help anyone. I would rather they do something to help children, he said. This makes it look like the charity's leadership is focused on its own interests rather than getting things going. While resigning trustees accused Chanduka of poor governance and damaging vital relationships, she has alleged that the Duke's conduct amounted to harassment and bullying at scale, suggesting his public profile, once an asset, has become a liability. The impact on the charity's finances has been stark. According to a figure formerly close to the organisation, several long-standing international donors called or fell away during the dispute, which sources attributed to tensions over leadership. At least one major relationship was said to have been terminated abruptly after its single meeting. The donor drift has undermined confidence at a critical time. Sentebale's 2024 accounts show a deficit of 1.6 million and a significant depletion of the 1.2 million donation from sales of the Duke's memoir Spares. Nowhere is the crisis more visible than at the Mamohato Children's Centre in Lesotho. Designed as a base for programs supporting vulnerable children, the site is also used to host events when activities are not running. However, villagers and residential sessions have not been held for months, with one local describing it as just a place to host weddings lately. During a visit this week, the gates were locked, the grounds appeared unkempt, and the car park sat empty. Sentebale has said its programs at the centre operate on a scheduled basis and are not continuously in session, and that its work extends beyond residential activities at the site. It said it continued to deliver support to young people in Lesotho through various programs. Can they tell us the various programs and show pictures? Proof of life, please, of these programs. The General Director's concerns about Sentebale's legal action were echoed by some former colleagues of Chanduka, who described her as a dominating figure who finds it difficult to brook criticism. While she insists the High Court action was privately funded, critics remain focused on her previous stewardship of charitable funds, including reports that she commissioned an expensive external consultancy for a website overhaul, only to scrap the project. Insiders described a pattern of executive overreach, wherein which Chanduka operated well beyond the traditional non-executive role of a chair. It is alleged that she micromanaged operational decisions, blurring the lines between board oversight and daily management. Former colleagues said a similar pattern was evident in Chanduka's work outside the charity, including at Nandi Life Sciences, a biotech firm she set up with her brother. A source close to the firm described Chanduka as very hands-on, involving herself in the smallest details, holding frequent meetings and closely monitoring work. They said she would be harsh in her management style and would on occasion yell at staff when things went wrong, adding that the environment could be emotionally damaging. I wouldn't be surprised if some of them came out and sued her, talking about she was bullied. She doesn't quite enjoy hearing contrary opinions, the source said, describing a dominating approach in which decision-making had become increasingly centralised. For those in Lesotho who once relied on the charity's work, the dispute feels far removed from their daily lives. With programs stalled, donors lifting away, its founders gone, questions remain over whether Sentebale can recover. My goodness. Absolutely destroyed a charity for what? Do you know what is I said about the whole Nandi Life Sciences is given Elizabeth Holmes, and we need to know the money. So apparently Nandi Life Sciences was there to raise money for firms, for these biotech firms. Where has the money for that gone? Because with these biotech firms, baby, we're not talking tens of thousands. We're not talking hundreds of thousands. These VCs will drop millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions for these companies. You're not even getting through the door unless you've got $1 million to drop. Where is that money? Stuff is going to come out about this lady. She is a walking Netflix documentary. And Harry and Meghan can produce it. I will laugh my ass off. I'm calling it now. There will be a Netflix documentary about this lady, produced by Harry and Meghan. Surviving Sophie Chanduka. So there's more information at the Times about Chanduka's behaviour when she worked at Nandi Life Sciences. The lack of oversight over the millions of dollars raised, and the fact that few people know where that money actually went. It certainly sounds like she's a serial con artist. running similar scams wherever she can. And can I just say, I'm reminded again of how unprofessionally this situation was handled across the board in the UK by both the Charity Commission and the British press. They were so eager to back anyone criticising Harry, they empowered this repulsive woman and her lies. Exactly. She did a whole tour. It was Sophie Chanduka on tour of British media outlets. And then as soon as they realised this lady is lying, they backed away. And you know why they backed away? Because they fear being implicated in any legal proceedings. That's why. Not because they have a moral conscience. This will likely end with Chanduka holding the proverbial bag, but so many people screwed up here. Reading the trustee's letter just drove that point home. Chanduka is such an obvious whack job who was already looting and mismanaging charitable funds back in 2024. Heck, it probably started well before that because there's reports of her mismanaging funds from other stuff that she was involved in a long time ago. It's absolutely crazy that the Charity Commission did nothing to stop her and that the press is only looking into her background now. I need an American journalist to step up to the plate and do a full expose, please. Ronan Farrow, you can't be that busy. Heck, you probably need a break from the Orange Monster. Jump on this, please. What an absolute clown. Yes, Paradise 2003. She deserves jail. Kenneth, you said, I agree with you, Anne. There will be a Netflix documentary about Sentebale charity and Sophie Chanduka will be included. Indeed. Surviving Sophie Chanduka is definitely documentary worthy. The slow and steady way that she got into power, Harry and the trustees stepping down, the way she depleted funds, all of the BS of Nandi Life Sciences, her dodgy dealings in other organizations in the past. There was something that she was involved in. I think it was the Black Britain's Business Association or something like that. Funds being mismanaged there. Just all around scam artist. She has all of the hallmarks of a scam artist. All right, folks. There was actually more that I wanted to cover, but again, once we get past the 1 hour mark, once we get to 1 hour 30, my voice starts going. I also have a very long day today, so I do just want to get an extra hour sleep. Since I woke up at like 6 a.m. So I'm going to end things here. Thank you so much. I promise, as long as there is no power outages, I do want to do another podcast today. Thank you for all of your input. Thank you for all of your donations in the chat. Also, if you want to donate to Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal, links in the bio. I appreciate you all so much. Listen, for all of the drama, it was an incredible week, wasn't it? Wasn't it? I do apologize. I think I only did like 2 podcasts because I had so much going on, but the scope of the trip, I don't even feel that I fully captured it all in my podcast, but it was truly incredible. So much for us to eat and enjoy. All right, let's end with some of your comments. She's a briefcase bandit. Briefcase bandits like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves in the White House. Indeed. That's my new favorite term, briefcase bandit. Yeah, these corporate briefcase bandits. They get involved in charity and it's all for their name and all for their money. Oh, thank you so much, Lottie. Thank you to all of you. Renee, you said you didn't even cover Kate and why she can't speak. I think we've covered Mumble's lack of ability to speak enough over the last few years. She's had more than enough time to learn how to speak. Nothing we say is going to help. All right, love you so much, folks. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll catch up later. Ciao.